gonna throw this away. Be right back. Okay. All right. So, have you ever had one of those weeks where you made a plan and none of it went according to plan, or most of the stuff you thought would reasonably go according to plan didn't go according to plan? Hang on a second, time machine. See, this week was supposed to be all about, creating my 90-day launch plan and getting that done. And I thought, 3 hours would be enough time. And 3 hours probably would have been enough time if I could have actually given 3 hours to the Hang on a second. I gotta answer this. Hold on. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so 3 hours to do this plan and get it all laid out, and I was really thinking that this was going to work, and I knew I had other things on my horizon, things that I needed to do, and then I scheduled those things as part of my workday. Well, yesterday I was scheduled to go to Ohio, and I had included that in my workday, but I figured, well, it's 6 hours down and 6 hours back, and my husband will be driving, so I can get some work done while we're traveling. Hold on. LOL. That's hysterical. Okay, all right. Sorry, someone tweeted me. And anyways, he ended up driving during the dark hours, so I couldn't really read or work on the computer or anything because I was driving during the daylight hours when there was actually, sunshine to read by. So that kind of put a crimp in yesterday's plan. And when I got back here today to sit in front of my computer, oh, cool, all right. What ended up happening was all kinds of things, all kinds of chaos happened yesterday. I mean, aside from Steve Jobs dying, which I didn't know about that until today. Apparently, a blog post that I had scheduled as a draft went live. A blog post that I had scheduled to go live stayed as a draft, so it never went out. The newsletter that I had scheduled didn't go out. One of my clients was accidentally charged for something automatically that we thought we had canceled the automatic billing for. And one of my other clients who had a project that was nearing completion had bumped back the deliverable date several times, finally decided they were going to get me this piece that I needed to complete their project. So I didn't have that planned into my calendar either. And it's like, then family said they wanted to come visit, and all this stuff starts, just kind of piling up. It's like playing that game of Tetris, where first everything's kind of settling in and it's no problem, and then things start coming faster and faster and faster, and you get to the point where you're like, wah! And that was kind of where I was. So, oh, hang on. That's funny. I'll have to watch that later. Yeah. So anyways, what I realized was I was facing a lot of distractions. Now, some of them were self-inflicted distractions. Some of them were out of the blue distractions, and it's something that I talk about in the work that I did called the peace system. Hang on. Okay. So the idea behind what I talk about in the peace system is that there are things in your life called must-dos, should-dos, and want-to-dos. And there are different categories of must-dos. There are these emergency must-dos that, come up on our radar, and we can't really make a plan for them. We just have to kind of create space in our day for them so that we kind of have a space cushion. And then we have these regular must-dos, these part of our routine. Like every day I walk my kid to school. That's part of my must-do activity. I can't not walk him to school. But at the same time, a lot of the things that we call emergency must-dos are because of something we neglected in one of our 5 key areas. And I won't get into all of that, but essentially what I was finding was all of these distractions popping up, pulling me away from what I wanted to do, that thing that I wanted to focus on, planning out the next, 86 days of this program. And so I was starting to feel like I was getting behind and projects weren't getting done, and then all of this started happening, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And while I was in Atlanta, one of the things that we talked about quite a bit, thanks to the fabulous Les McCune, was the idea of, oh, squirrel, oh, shiny, oh, hey, we get distracted. And hold on a second. I'm going to close this so that I can focus on you. When we take the time to really focus on what's important to us, whether that's our family or our work or our projects or our dreams and aspirations, when we take the time to really focus and push the distractions away, we can accomplish more. We can be more effective in what we're doing. And all of my little tweets and mail and all of that was really just to show you how insidious distractions can be, even when you think you've cleared the space away. One of the things that we as entrepreneurs are notorious for is overscheduling ourselves. Yeah, I can do that. Sure, I'll take that on. No problem. Give me that. I can handle that. That's no problem. I can do this. And part of it is because we have this deep-seated desire to just want to be seen as the go-to person. You have a problem? Call Lisa. She can handle it. You need something? Call Lisa. She's got the answer. You want something fixed? Call Lisa. She's a mechanic. She can fix anything, kind of a thing. And while that's good for our ego, it's not good for our soul. But it's not, because we end up taking on way more responsibility than is reasonable for a human being. And then we start to feel guilty about what we don't accomplish. We start to feel anger and resentment about the things that we think we shouldn't have to handle anymore, because these little distractions keep popping up. Whether it's a piece of plastic that needs to go into the recycle or something else, it stems from not having the right systems in place to handle these things that just kind of pop up. Now, we all know emergencies happen. And if you've structured your day so that you've got a space cushion to handle some emergencies, then you're less likely to feel the stress and the strain. And it comes down to saying no. It comes down to being honest, what I call ruthlessly honest, about what you can really reasonably handle in a day. If I had been smart, if I had really been honest with myself, I would have said, you know what? My husband does most of the driving during the dark hours, and I do most of the driving during the daylight hours, so I'm kidding myself into thinking I'm actually going to get something done on this 12-hour drive. I should have just kicked back and enjoyed the ride. And instead, I was frantic and frustrated and upset about things that weren't getting done because I was tricking myself, kidding myself, fooling myself into believing that I could accomplish things that weren't reasonable for who I am. Now, someone else may very easily be able to do that kind of thing. I see people on airplanes all the time with their little laptops out, clickety-clacking away, getting so much done. That's not me. I get on an airplane, I pull out my journal and I write a little bit. Sometimes I just flip through the magazine that's sitting there in the seat front pocket in front of me, or I just go to sleep or close my eyes or look out the window and enjoy the view and recognize that I don't need to rush myself when I am appropriately scheduled. When I start making unreasonable commitments from myself, I have to honor my own tempo, and you have to honor your own tempo. In the first video, I said something to the effect of, if it takes you 5 days to make a plan, then it takes you 5 days to make a plan. If it takes you a month, it takes you a month. You need to learn to get more in touch with your own rhythms for doing business and living your life, and you need to be okay with what those rhythms are. Not everybody moves at the speed of light. Not everybody moves at a snail's pace. We all have our own tempos. Sometimes during the month, we are in the zone, and we can accomplish so much stuff. And sometimes it's okay, why did I even wake up this morning? Everything is going wrong. All this stuff is happening. I should have just crawled right back in bed. Okay, crawl back in bed. There's nothing wrong with that. It's part of what we go through as entrepreneurs and as people, as human beings. We have these processes processes that we try to resist, these natural ebbs and flows in our energy and in our lives that we try to resist because we think we should be more than we are, or because we think someone else can do it, so can we. And I'm the first person to tell you that we can do a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. I also think we know when we've hit a wall and we've hit our limit and we've done all we can do, and there's nothing wrong with saying, I've hit a wall. This is all I can do for right now. I need to step back. I need to recuperate. I need to regroup. Jonathan Fields talks about in his book Uncertainty the need to get away from your work so that when you come back to it, you come back to it with fresh eyes and a better approach. So when you're having a week like I'm having, where everything feels like it's completely out of whack, take a minute to look at what you've done to yourself and be honest. You know, have I really overscheduled myself? For the last 7 or 8 months, I've tried to stick to the idea of 1 appointment a day, which seems like I'm not doing anything. It feels like I'm moving really slowly. But I've found that when I put 2 or 3 appointments on my calendar, I feel really stressed and really rushed, and I don't feel like I'm giving anything my all. Instead of taking 1 appointment, whether it's an interview or a coaching session or shooting a video, putting 1 thing on my calendar for the 3 hours a day that I have to work, and really giving it my all, really just juicing it and nursing it and taking care of it, so that I know I am putting out the best possible thing I can. And I think sometimes people can tell when you're mailing it in, because you know, your eyes are wandering around, you're checking your email while you're shooting a video, you're doing anything but giving the full value to the project that you're focused on. And I mean, you can get away with that to some degree, but do you want to be known as the person who mails stuff in all the time? I don't. I truly don't. I want to be known as somebody who can connect with an audience and really inspire action. I'm all about taking action and getting people to take action, and I don't know why. I mean, that's part of what I'm exploring over these days that we're on this journey together. But for me, I can't stand when people have excuses. I can't stand it. It's like there is no excuse that's valid in the world. There's always a way. You just have to be willing to look for the answer. You just have to be willing to look at things differently. You just have to be willing to ask for help and to receive it. There's so many different ways to find the answer to what your problem is that, you know, one of my things that I'm really starting to play around with is the idea of let's stop making excuses and let's start making friends. You know, friends that can help us bridge the gap from what we think we need and what we think we have to where we want to be in the world. And that's part of what this whole evolution is going to be. You know, I want to connect with more people. I want to make more friends. I want to have fewer excuses for myself so that I can help other people have fewer excuses, so that they can take action on whatever it is that they want to accomplish. So maybe the thing that you're trying to do just needs more time to incubate. You know, when I talked to several people about wanting to make this transition, and a couple of them were like, well, you're ready now. You know, you've got everything you need inside you right now. And I understand what they were saying, and I agree to a point. But I also know that there's a time when you're feeling like you're just missing that one little piece, and no amount of turning the puzzle is going to make that one little piece appear. You have to wait until the person with that piece shows up and goes, here's what you've been missing. And then you put it in. Ah, I see the picture. It's a miracle. And for me, I had been walking through with very certain clarity about a direction I wanted to go and things I wanted to do, and I still felt like I'm not quite ready yet. It's going to take me 6 months to make this thing happen. And people kept saying, no, you've got everything, you're ready, you're ready now. But I couldn't see that missing piece. And I went to Atlanta, and some really interesting things happened while I was there and on the way home, and I'm going to be sharing some of that stuff with you as we go along. But the final piece, so to speak, kind of popped itself in. And it was like, now I know what I've been missing. Now I'm ready to move forward. Now I think I have what I need to take the next step on the journey. Can I see the whole journey at this point? I don't think so. Can I find all the little pieces and steps along the way? Not yet. But that's okay, because I have the piece I need to take my next step. And I'm confident that I'll continue to have just enough light to make it to the next step, and then the next step. We don't need to see the whole entire picture if we're walking faithfully, confidently on the path that we believe has been set before us to tread. And that's where I'm at today. So I'm eliminating distractions. I'm saying goodbye to the squirrels, and I'm being more honest with myself about what I really can handle when it comes to this program, when it comes to anything I'm doing in life. And that's my challenge to you, is to take what you're doing and get ruthless about it. You know, somebody else may say, well, you can do this in 90 days, or you can do that tomorrow. But if in your gut, in your heart, you really feel like you need 2 weeks where it only takes someone else 2 days, honor that. You'll flex the muscle and you'll get better, and maybe one day you'll be at 2 days, maybe you'll be at 2 hours. Who knows? But if you're not honoring that, what happens is you create this angst inside yourself, and the angst manifests itself in oh shiny. You know, you feel like this isn't the thing I should be doing right now because I know I need more time to work on this, and oh look, that looks interesting, and oh hey, what about that? I've listened to the same audio 4 times in the last 2 days, and I haven't heard a word of it because I've been distracted, thinking this is not what I need to be doing right now. I need to be focused on something else. And I keep coming back to the audio going, no, I need to listen to this thing. And I keep getting distracted. So I'm making a conscious, intentional effort to shoot the squirrels, to eliminate the distractions. You can't eliminate everything or you'd be living in a bubble, a very dark, silent bubble. But what you can do is get honest with yourself and set genuine, authentic expectations for yourself and not compare yourself to everybody else. And I know it's hard. Oh, we do it all the time. We compare ourselves to our spouses and our children and our children's parents' friends, our children's friends' parents. We compare all the time. We're comparative beasts. It's part of our DNA. And we have to turn the noise down on that because it's a distraction. It's a distraction from us doing our great work. And what kind of a world would we live in if you had the number one secret to solving some huge problem in this world and you weren't able to focus on making that solution come to the world because you were distracted? It's time for us to close the distractions and make an intentional, consistent, focused effort to be more focused, to be more intent on being who we are called to be in the world, in whatever capacity that is, rather than trying to be or do the shoulds that other people have foisted upon us.